Welcome to Zoe Stories. I wore a dress once. Now I'm a bridesmaid. I never thought a simple dare would change the entire course of my life. My name's Ryan. I'm 23. Pretty average guy, I guess. I work in IT fixing bugs, resetting passwords, updating systems nobody ever thanks you for updating. I keep to myself, blend in, stay out of trouble. But that doesn't mean I don't carry secrets. See, there's this side of me I never show anyone. A part I've kept locked away since I was a teenager. It started small, borrowing my sister's lipstick once out of curiosity. Then her blouse. Then a dress. At the time, it felt wrong, but somehow right. That feeling never really went away. I learned how to suppress it, tuck it deep inside under layers of hoodies and code. I told myself it was just a phase. That real men didn't wear dresses. That if anyone found out, they'd never look at me the same. But the urge never died. It just got better at hiding. Until Emma came along. Emma wasn't like the girls I dated before, if you could even call those short, awkward encounters dating. She was confident, hilarious, sharp, and completely disarming. She made me feel seen in ways that were dangerous. Safe in a way that was addictive. We met at a game night hosted by a mutual friend. She was wearing this ridiculous unicorn hoodie and trash-talking everyone at Mario Kart. I liked her instantly. And somehow she liked me back. We've been together almost a year now. She moved into my apartment 6 months ago, and our lives sort of clicked together. She leaves little notes in my lunchbox, laughs at my terrible jokes, and has a habit of wearing my oversized flannel shirts around the house that drives me crazy. But even with how close we are, she doesn't know everything. Not the real everything. I've thought about telling her. 1,000 times. When we were curled up watching movies. When we were walking home in the rain. When she told me she could trust me with anything. But I couldn't say it. How do you even start that conversation? Hey babe, you know those lace panties in the laundry? Yeah, those are mine. Remember your red lipstick that mysteriously went missing last fall? That was me. Sometimes, when you're out, I try on your dresses and heels just to see who I could have been.
No.
No way. It would ruin everything. She'd look at me differently. Think I was some kind of freak. Or worse, pity me. So I stayed quiet. Safe in the shadows. Living 2 lives in the same 1-bedroom apartment. But all that changed last week. It was a rainy Thursday. Emma had a bridal fitting for her best friend's wedding and was running late. She burst into the apartment, soaked and flustered, dumped her garment bag on the couch, and tossed her heels into the corner like they'd betrayed her. I'm gonna be gone all day tomorrow, dress rehearsal and dinner with Claire. Could you pick up the dry cleaning? She asked, flopping down next to me. Sure, I said, only half listening as I tapped away at my laptop. She grinned. You're the best. Oh, and whatever you do, don't open the garment bag. That dress is under strict maid of honor lockdown. I gave a little mock salute. Got it. Sealed by royal decree.
We laughed.
She kissed my cheek and disappeared into the bathroom. But later that night, I couldn't stop thinking about it. The bag. The dress. Sitting right there in the living room. Forbidden, sacred, hers. I told myself it was harmless curiosity. Just a look. Just a touch.
But we both know that was a lie.
That brings us to today. Emma's gone for the entire afternoon. The apartment is quiet, eerily quiet. I can still smell her perfume lingering in the hall. I walk past the garment bag 3 times before finally stopping in front of it. My hand hesitates over the zipper. One little peek. The fabric is soft. Expensive.
Silky.
Pale blush with delicate floral lace around the bodice. It's stunning. Feminine in a way that feels almost alien, and yet so familiar it hurts. I run my fingers down the length of it. And then I make the first mistake. I hold it up to my chest. The second mistake? I unzip it fully.
Step into it.
Let it slide over my body like a second skin. It fits almost too well. I catch a glimpse of myself in the hallway mirror. For a moment, it's like I've crossed over. Like I'm not Ryan, the awkward IT guy who lives a double life. I'm someone else. Someone softer. Prettier.
Free.
Then my phone buzzes. Emma. Hey babe, rehearsal got cancelled. Be home in 30, sparkling heart. My blood runs cold. Panic sets in. I'm standing in the living room, wearing her bridesmaid dress. Makeup half done. Wig on the couch. Heels on my feet. Mirror reflecting a stranger who looks more like her maid of honor than her boyfriend. And she's coming home. I've never moved so fast in my life. As soon as I saw Emma's text, I nearly tripped over the hem of the dress trying to get it off. My hands were trembling. Zipper stuck. Heart racing. My reflection taunted me, mocked me. The girl in the mirror looked so right, so wrong, so impossible. But I didn't have time to think about that. I yanked the dress off, careful not to tear the delicate lace. It floated like a cloud down to the couch while I dashed for the bathroom, leaving a trail of lipstick-stained tissues behind me. My hands were covered in foundation. My cheeks still sparkled with blush. My legs, shaved weeks ago in secret, were smooth and exposed.
God.
Why did I do this? Emma's keys rattled in the hallway. I barely made it. She walked in just as I splashed water onto my face, scrubbing hard enough to erase the entire afternoon. My heart pounded in my throat. Hey babe, she called from the living room. Stupid, rehearsal got cancelled. Claire's mom has food poisoning. I swallowed. Everything okay?
Yeah.
Just hungry. Did you eat? Not yet. I dried my face with a towel, avoiding the mirror, trying not to picture what I'd looked like just minutes before. Want me to order something? She smiled. Thai. Perfect. It was like nothing happened, except I couldn't breathe. That night, while Emma watched TV, I sat beside her stiffly, my mind miles away. The dress was back in the garment bag. Hidden. Safe. But I wasn't. I kept replaying it. The zipper sliding up. The sensation of silk on skin. The way the heels made me stand taller. The girl in the mirror wasn't just some fantasy. She was me. At least, a version of me I wasn't ready to face. But the problem was I wanted to. And that terrified me. The next few days were torture. Every time Emma left the apartment, I stared at that bag like it held some forbidden truth. I told myself it had been a one-time thing. A fluke. A lapse in judgment. But that was a lie. Because 2 days later, I did it again. This time, I didn't stop at the dress. I added mascara, light contour, a nude lipstick, her pearl earrings, a pair of beige heels she wore to a dinner last month. My hands shook as I slipped them on, but the second I stood up, I felt right. Not just different.
Right.
I walked to the mirror, hesitant, then mesmerized. This wasn't a game anymore. I wasn't just trying on clothes. I was becoming someone else. But reality has a cruel way of breaking through fantasy. That evening, Emma got a call. It was from Claire, the bride. Guess what? She squealed on speaker. Melanie bailed on the wedding. You'll never believe it. She ran off with her ex. Again. Emma blinked. Wait. Melanie? But she's a bridesmaid.
Was.
Now she's a memory. That's why I'm calling. I need a replacement. The dress has already been ordered. It's a size 6. You said your boyfriend was small, right? Emma laughed. Ryan? Yeah, he's practically a waif. Why? There was a pause. Then Claire said the 6 words that hit me like a thunderclap. You think he'd wear the dress? My blood froze. Emma burst out laughing. What? Are you serious? Claire giggled. Come on. We need someone to fill the lineup. Just for the rehearsal photos. He'd be doing us a huge favor. No one even has to know he's a guy if we get a good wig. The makeup artists are magicians. Emma laughed again. God, I don't know. He'd probably die of embarrassment. But her voice, there was something else in it too. Curiosity. When she hung up, I pretended I hadn't heard. But my heart was hammering like a drum. That night, I tossed and turned in bed. What if I did do it? Just once. For Emma. For Claire. For the wedding. What if they all laughed? What if they didn't? What if someone saw me and saw something real? The next morning, Emma brought it up casually while we made coffee. So, Claire wasn't entirely joking. I raised an eyebrow. About what? You know, the bridesmaid thing. I gave a hollow laugh. You want me in a dress? She leaned on the counter, grinning. Look, it'd just be for one day. I told her you'd probably say no. Probably. Well, you're kind of a good sport. She sipped her coffee. And I mean, you'd actually fit the dress. I know your legs are nicer than mine. I choked on my drink. She laughed. I'm serious. You could pull it off if you wanted to. I've seen guys do it on TikTok. Some of them are hotter than me. I froze. She didn't say it like she was mocking me. More like she was testing something. Would you think I was weird? I asked quietly. She tilted her head. If you wore a dress? Yeah. Emma shrugged. I think weird is relative. I mean, I wore a tux to my cousin's wedding once. Gender's a construct anyway, right? I blinked. Was she giving me permission? That night, when she went to bed early with a headache, I stayed up, pacing the living room. The dress was still there, calling to me. But this time I didn't sneak. I stood in front of the mirror and made a decision. If I was going to do this, I'd really do it. I shaved. Everything. My legs, my arms, my chest. I plucked my eyebrows. Moisturized. Pulled out the makeup kit I kept hidden under the sink. Did my face slowly, deliberately. Steady hands. Deep breaths. I looked soft. Then I put on the dress again. This time I didn't feel like a fraud. I felt like me. Suddenly, a knock at the door. I jumped. Heart in my throat. I wasn't expecting anyone. Emma was asleep. The lights were still on. Knock, knock, knock. I panicked. Ran to the bathroom. Slipped on the rug. Nearly fell. The knocking stopped. Then a voice. Ryan? It's your sister? I froze. Jenna. She was in town for the weekend. I'd completely forgotten. I brought your favorite cookies, she called. You said to drop by whenever, remember? I looked at myself in the mirror. Makeup flawless. Dress pristine. Wig perfect. But not perfect enough to face her. Just a minute. I called, scrambling. I couldn't take off the dress fast enough. Couldn't erase the makeup. My sister was right there. One step away from discovering the secret I'd buried for years. It wasn't just a close call. It was a warning. That night, after Jenna left, I sat in the dark, still trembling. This was spiraling. It was no longer about harmless curiosity. It wasn't about the dress.
It was about me.
The part one kept hiding. The part that felt more real every time I looked in the mirror. And I was running out of time. The wedding was next week. Emma still hadn't pressed me, but I saw it in her eyes. Something had shifted. She knew something, and she was waiting for me to admit it. Emma finds out. The truth is revealed. The wedding isn't just a favor. It becomes a moment of identity, betrayal, and shocking transformation. The next few days passed in a blur of nerves and avoidance. Emma kept smiling like everything was normal, but something had changed in the air between us. She looked at me differently.
Spoke more gently.
And every so often, she'd give me this knowing glance, like she was waiting for me to say something I didn't have the courage to admit. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't stop thinking about the dress. I couldn't stop thinking about her. The girl in the mirror. Then, for days before the wedding, Emma walked into the living room holding a box. A shoe box. She set it on the table without a word and opened it. Inside was a pair of nude pumps. Elegant. Delicate. Size 9, my size. I picked these up just in case, she said casually. My throat dried. In case of what? I asked, barely able to breathe. In case you said yes, she replied. To being a bridesmaid. There it was. No jokes. No teasing. Just an invitation. And a challenge. I stared at the shoes. She waited. I don't know if I can, I whispered. She stepped closer. Why not? Because, my voice cracked. Because I like it too much. Emma didn't flinch. I've been dressing up when you're gone, I confessed. Not as a joke. Not just once. A lot. And I don't know what it means, but when I look in the mirror, I feel more like me than I ever have before. Silence. My heart thudded, so loud, I thought she'd hear it echo. She took a deep breath. Ryan, she said gently. I've known. I blinked. What? I've known for a while. The shaved legs. The perfume bottle that kept moving. The faint lip tint that didn't quite wash off. My face went red. Why didn't you say anything? Because I wanted you to. I didn't want to push. I wanted to know if this was real. And now I do. I sat down hard on the couch, trembling. I don't even know what I am, I admitted. Emma knelt beside me. You don't need all the answers yet, she said. But I think you need to stop hiding. Just try it. For the wedding. Not for Claire. Not for me. For you. The next morning, the plan was set. Emma called Claire and said she had a replacement bridesmaid. No, not Jenna, she said on the phone. Someone else. Claire didn't ask questions. She was desperate. We had 3 days. 3 days to turn me into someone new. Emma became my coach, stylist, and secret keeper. We practiced walking in heels down the hallway, around the block at night. She taught me how to contour cheekbones, how to set lipstick so it wouldn't smudge, how to stand like I'd always worn dresses. She gave me a wig, shoulder length, chestnut brown, with soft curls. It was expensive. Real hair. I stared at it like it was a crown. Then came the big test.
The dress.
Claire had dropped it off early. Pale rose pink.
Satin.
Floor length. It fit perfectly. Emma zipped me in, stepped back, and gasped softly. You look, she swallowed, like a woman. I looked in the mirror, and for once, didn't cringe. I smiled. I don't feel like Ryan right now, I admitted. Emma's voice was quiet. Do you want to try a name? I hesitated. Then I said, Riley. It came out soft, but strong. Hi, Riley, she said, beaming. And just like that, I was her. But not everyone was ready to meet Riley. At the rehearsal dinner, I walked in beside Emma, heart pounding in heels, breath shallow under foundation and perfume. No one recognized me. No one even questioned me. I was just another bridesmaid. Another girl in a pink dress. Claire hugged me tight. Thank you so much. You're saving the whole lineup. I smiled nervously. Anything for the bride. It felt surreal, like I was performing a role I'd always known. Until I heard it. A voice behind me. One that froze my blood. Ryan. I turned. It was Jake, my old college roommate. Groomsman. Loudmouth.
Alpha. Macho.
He was squinting at me, brow furrowed. Emma stepped forward. This is Riley. She's my friend. Jake looked like he'd seen a ghost. You look just like, never mind. He laughed it off. But I saw it in his eyes. He knew. The next day, disaster struck. Jake cornered me behind the venue. I don't know what game you're playing, he hissed. But I saw your face. I know who you are. I don't know what you mean, I said, voice trembling. Cut the crap, Ryan. You think this is funny? Dressing up like some chick to sneak into a bridal party. I backed up. He grabbed my arm. You think Claire's gonna be okay with this? Or the rest of the guys? You're gonna ruin this wedding. Emma appeared like lightning. Get your hands off her. Jake glared. This is sick. No, Emma said coldly. What's sick is how small your mind is. If you say one word, I'll ruin you. He stormed off, seething. My hands were shaking. I'm done, I whispered. I can't go through with this. Emma turned to me. Yes, you can. You have to. And so, I did. The day of the wedding, I sat in a makeup chair surrounded by women. No one blinked. No one asked. The artists transformed me with glittering eyeshadow and soft pink lips. My wig was styled in waves. Earrings clipped. Necklace fastened. The dress hugged me like a second skin. I looked in the mirror. And I saw Riley. Not Ryan. Not a costume. Just me. At the ceremony, I walked down the aisle holding a bouquet. Hundreds of eyes. Not a single one saw through me. I stood beside Claire. I smiled at Emma. And for the first time in my life, I didn't feel like I was pretending. I felt real. Underscore 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 underscore. But just as the couple kissed and the crowd erupted in applause, it happened. Jake stood up at the back of the crowd. "That's not a real bridesmaid," he shouted.
Gasps.
Claire turned, shocked. "What?" Jake pointed directly at me. "That's a guy in a dress. That's Ryan. He's been pretending this whole time." Silence. I froze. Claire stepped forward. "Is that true?" Emma grabbed my hand. I swallowed, then stepped forward, shaking. "My name is Riley," I said. I didn't mean to lie. I didn't mean to make this about me. I just didn't know how to say who I was until now. Claire looked stunned. Jake laughed.
See?
This is insane. But then Claire walked up to me. She hugged me. "You looked beautiful," she whispered. "I'm glad you were part of it." Jake stormed out. But no one followed him.
They followed me.
That night, at the reception, I danced in heels. I laughed with Emma. And when the DJ played the slow song, I didn't care who saw. I danced with her under the fairy lights, my dress swirling around me.
She leaned in.
"I'm proud of you, Riley." I smiled. For the first time in my life, I felt free. A quiet moment after the chaos. Riley reflects on what happened, what she's lost, what she's gained, and who she really is now. The morning after the wedding, I woke up to birdsong and sunlight. Still in the guest room. Still surrounded by makeup brushes, spare lashes, and hairpins. The pink dress was draped over the chair. My heels were kicked off near the door. And I was still Riley. No more pretending. No more lies. Downstairs, Emma was making coffee. She looked up when I walked in. No wig, no makeup. Just me in a robe, feeling strangely vulnerable. But she smiled. "Morning, beautiful." I blushed. Everything felt so fragile. Like saying the wrong thing would shatter the magic of the past few days. I poured coffee and sat beside her in silence. "Do you regret it?" she asked after a moment. I looked down at my cup. "No," I said softly. "I think I'd regret not doing it." Emma nodded. "You were amazing yesterday."
You were you.
I hesitated. "And Jake?" She shrugged. "He left early. Threw a fit on Instagram. A few groomsmen unfollowed him." I laughed weakly. "I thought everyone would hate me," I admitted. "But they didn't." "No," she said. "Because you were honest."
Brave.
And beautiful. That afternoon, Claire called. My heart jumped when I saw her name. I answered with shaking hands. "Hi. You okay?" she asked. I nodded, then realized she couldn't see me.
Yeah.
"I think so." There was a pause. "I should have known," she said gently. "The way you smiled when we put you in that dress. The way you carried yourself. I didn't mean to deceive you." She cut me off. "You didn't. You gave me the best bridesmaid I could have asked for. And honestly, I wish you'd told me sooner. I would have helped." Tears welled in my eyes. "Thanks, Claire." "I hope Riley sticks around," she added. "She's pretty amazing." The following week was harder. Reality set in. The makeup was packed away. The dresses hung untouched. And I was left with questions I'd avoided for so long.
Who was I now?
Was Riley a persona? Or was she the real me, waiting all along? I wasn't sure. I just knew I didn't want to go back to pretending. One night, Emma knocked on my bedroom door. She had something in her hands, a small wrapped box. "A gift," she said. Inside was a necklace.
Silver.
Simple. The pendant read, "Riley." I looked up at her. "You don't have to decide everything now," she said. "But I wanted you to know. I see you. And I love you, whoever that turns out to be." Tears ran down my cheeks. "I think I want to be her," I whispered. "I think. I always have." She kissed my forehead. "Then let's figure it out. Together." It's been 3 months since the wedding. I haven't worn the pink dress again. But it hangs in my closet beside a few new additions, blouses, skirts, flats that don't blister my heels. I don't wear makeup every day.
But when I do, I take my time.
I smile. And every time I look in the mirror, I whisper that name. Riley.
Not because I have to, because I want to.
The world isn't always kind. Some friends ghosted me. Jake tried to out me online, but it backfired. He lost most of his followers. I didn't even need to respond. Emma did it for me. Some days are scary, but most days, they're brighter than they've ever been. I get to wake up and be me. And that, more than anything, is what the dress gave me. Not a costume. Not a punishment. A beginning. A truth. A chance to stop hiding and start living. All because I wore a dress once. And became someone I never expected.
Me.
Riley.